Good morning, everyone. Start in just a second. Can everybody hear me okay? Cool, cool. So, awesome. Right, so 71% of consumers want brands to anticipate their needs with personalized offers, but only 34% of brands deliver. And that's a 37-point gap from the Adobe 2026 AI and Digital Trends report of 3,000 executives and 4,000 consumers surveyed globally. So less than half of the organizations, so 44%, say that their quality is inadequate for AI driven personalization. Only 39% of them have a customer data platform capable of supporting it, and that's again from the Adobe data. So, yeah, less than half of the organizations say that their data is adequate, and that's kind of the key piece there. US customer experience quality fell to an all-time low, an average score of 68.3 out of 100. So only 6% of brands improved, and that's the Forrester Customer Experience Index as well. So customers want personalization. Most brands can't deliver it, and the overall quality of customer experience is getting worse, not better. Yeah. So what makes this really expensive? So McKinsey found that companies growing fastest drive 40% more of their revenue from personalization than their slower growing competitors. And personalization drives about a 10 to 15% revenue lift when done well. So personalized product recommendations account for up to 31% of e-commerce revenue. That was contentful. So it's not nice to have. There's a third of your revenue influenced by whether your site understands what somebody wants or makes them dig for it. So the typical industry standard strategy right now is to collect mountains of data, store it in 7 different systems, and then show everyone the same homepage. And we can do better. And we're going to uncover today how to do that. So the real question we're answering today is, why do sites still guess what customers want, and what does it look like when they stop guessing and start actually showing them what they're looking for? So I'm going to share my screen. Um, there we go. Cool. So this is the gap essentially. I'll add myself to that as well. There we go. This is the gap that we're seeing. So 71% of customers want brands to anticipate their needs with personalized offers, but only 34% of the brands are actually delivering those personalized experiences, which is a huge 37-point gap, and that's where the opportunity lies. So, and only 44% of organizations say that their data quality is adequate enough for AI driven personalization. So there's a gap there in terms of what we need to do in order to enable this. So today we're breaking down the 3 reasons why personalization isn't working as well, even though you may have invested in it already, and the technical causes, and why your data stack makes real personalization nearly impossible. And the 3 methods that actually work: intent capture, AI recommendations, and an audience of one segmentation, and how to do that well. Cool. So I'm going to share a link to the AI commerce briefing. This is our newsletter. You get 1 email a week. It's covering the AI commerce shifts in UK DTC brands, what they need to act on, and with the stats to back it up. And we share an email every week on this topic. Yeah, with the best insights for the week. So I'll drop that in the chat over there. If anyone wants to join that list, there we go. And yeah, so it's in the chat if you want more like this, like the practical DTC strategy, no nonsense advice. Cool. Let's go. So what personalization looks like from the customer's side of the screen. So let's have a look at this. So you've bought a CDP, you've set up the segments, you've got personalized email sequences. Your customer arrives on your site, and they see the same hero banner as everyone else. They search for red running shoes size 9 and get 200 results, including blue hiking boots. And then they add something to their cart, they abandon it, and get a generic "you forgot something" email 24 hours later. So every session where your site guesses wrong like this is a session where the customer does the work that your technology should do. And we need to do something different in order to close that 37-point gap. So personalization. So in 2026, this means something different, and it's changed over the years from the initial kind of hello name to it's evolved into a uh, much more targeted offering that you give each user. So we started off in sort of 2010 doing hi first name. You had email personalization with kind of merge tags, and it was the simplest form of recognition. Then you had kind of the Amazon style, people like you also base this, and based on your history, you may also like these things. They were okay, but yeah, it was very much kind of you bought a toilet seat last week, would you like a toilet seat this week? And it's like, no, I'm not that into toilet seats. So and then you have your segment. So this is where essentially we started narrowing down. So it's like maybe this person is into hiking or cars, and you can start to really delve into a particular segment, maybe segmenting by age or location and that sort of thing. And that enables more rule-based on-site personalization. Now, the problem with that is it gets very complex very quickly. So what we're looking at now is using AI to assist with that personalization. So you can have a what you want right now strategy. So real-time intent capture through AI search, conversation, and progressive profiling. So, for example, Netflix doesn't show you a catalog of 15,000 titles. It shows you the 40 it thinks you want to watch tonight. And the bar has really moved. Like your customers have been trained by Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon to expect something more specific. Like Spotify's Discover Weekly knows your taste better than your friends do. And Amazon's like customers who bought this, that drives 35% of their revenue. Like having even the basic versions do make a difference. And your customers expect expect this personalization when they arrive at your site. They get a um, segment based experience built for the woman 25 to 34 UK, and they're okay with that. Like it's what they expect, and it's they actually prefer it on the majority. So the that segment contains thousands of people with completely different intent though. So one might want a gift, one might want to replace something that's broken, one is browsing. It's the same segment and they're all getting the same experience, but they've got a different intent. So we could do a lot better than that. Segment based personalization is a bit like a restaurant that kind of asks like, "Are you hungry?" and then serves everyone the same meal. Um, so yeah, so then you've got the data you collect but don't activate. So typically sites are personalizing with these things over here. So it's things like the purchase history, the page views, the email clicks. But there is a lot of data that you have that you could use to personalize further if you're able to activate it in the right way. So yeah, so that overall stat, 44% saying their data is inadequate for personalization. Like there is a lot of data there. And the key thing here is it doesn't need to be structured when it starts. Like you can start with those disparate sources and use AI to get them into a standard format for you. So it's things like, yeah, the site behavior, like were they interacting with the carousel? Were they spending a bit longer further down a page on one of the pages? Did they interact with some of the reviews? Did they expand like an FAQ or something like that? You can start getting really deep with kind of the interactions and the signs of the intent of what the user is trying to do. Then you've got things here, obviously the purchase history, the email engagement, the search queries. That's a big one because if you're able to give them a more semantic style search or an NLP search where they can ask any question they like. So I'm looking for hiking boots for hiking in Scotland in the rain, and yeah, I'm size 11, and yeah, I need them this week. That's a very specific query that you can then extract multiple things out of to understand kind of urgency and their sizing and the kind of thing that they're into. You've got support tickets. So yeah, I'm returning an item that I didn't like, so we don't want to recommend that to them again. You've got things like the loyalty programs. So yeah, obviously from that you get a lot of intent data, a lot of behavioral data from understanding the kind of things that they buy frequently, what they buy together, those sorts of things. App usage, so what they're looking at on the apps, you get a lot of visibility. So it's not just website. CRM data, so what you're collecting about that particular user, and reviews as well. So um, typically, the amount of data that's actually used for personalization is around about 20% of what's actually collected. So there's a big gap there in terms of what's available and what's actually being used. So yeah, an average enterprise DC brand will collect data from those 8 to 12 touch points, the site behavior, purchase history, etc. Most of that data will sit in separate systems. Your CRM, for example, will know their purchase history. Your search platform will know what they look for. Your support system knows what went wrong. Your CDP is supposed to unify it, but rarely does it do that in real time. So only 44% of organizations are saying that their data quality is accurate, and that came from the Adobe report as well. It's quite a good report. Lot of good stats and insights in there. So the data exists. It's actually the connection between systems that doesn't. So your site guesses, but it can't access what it already knows. And yeah, the cost of guessing is wrong essentially. So 88% of users won't return after a bad experience. 79% is the mobile cart abandonment rate. So that's how many users on mobile abandon their carts, whereas on desktop it's far lower. And personalization drives 10 to 15% of revenue lift. So for a 50 million D2C brand, that's going to translate to 5 to 7.5 million annually. It compounds. So every session where you guess wrong, you lose the data from that interaction too. So the customer bounces before you learn anything about them. So the brands that get this right don't just convert better, they learn faster with every interaction. Cool. So the personalization gap is real. The data is trapped in silos and the cost is measurable. If you want to see some more resources like this, I will drop our newsletter in the chat where we share these insights and resources weekly. So that is in there. Cool. So cool. So the problem isn't really that the brands don't want to personalize, it's that the technology makes it structurally difficult. So so Safari and Firefox already block third-party cookies by default. They Chrome now gives users a choice, so they can pick, and 70% deny cookies when asked. So that means that the tracking layer most personalization tools were built on is gone for 40 to 70% of your visitors, depending on the browser mix. And publisher revenue drops roughly 30% under privacy sandbox tools compared to normal cookies. So personalization accuracy will drop similarly as well. So most brands haven't built their personalization strategy around first party and zero party data. They're running on 2019 personalization logic and 2026 data constraints. So what we mean by this is that kind of the first party data is data you get from your own systems, and zero party is like data you collect. So asking the customers kind of how they found you or what they're interested in and that sort of thing. So you're able to get that data from their searches and from chat inputs and on-site behavioral signals, and actually that is favored by 85% of advertising professionals now. The third-party cookie dependence is a tough one. Like you're far better off doing on-site personalization and capturing data on site and then using that data to feed back into your systems to then do the further personalization. So this is a shift happening in ad tech. It hasn't reached most on-site personalization stacks yet, and this is where the opportunity is. So segments are too coarse for real personalization. So, for example, segment-based, one size fits the segment. So women 25 to 34 UK. So we've got one that's I'm looking for a birthday gift for mum. One's saying I've got a broken item. One's just browsing. They all get the same homepage, same recommendations, same experience, but they shouldn't be. One that's like giving intent that they're looking for birthday gifts should very much be tailored down a separate route, for example, one that's looking to return an item shouldn't be recommended it again, should be given an easy path to do so. Like yeah, it's a high value returning customer segment could contain someone who buys every month on autopilot, and someone who bought once 18 months ago and just came back. So it's a very different customer. And traditional segmentation groups people by demographics and that past behavior. It can't account for that current intent of what that user's trying to do. So two people in the same segment arrive at the same time. One types gift for my daughter's birthday into the search. The other types replace the blue jumper I bought last year. And they're the same segment. They're completely different needs. So rules-based personalization can handle maybe 20 to 50 rule variations maximum. It gets very difficult very quickly and very complex. Whereas AI-driven personalization can handle thousands of millions in real time per session. So Single Grain found that 217%, you get a 270% higher engagement with intent-driven personalization. So the data's there to back it up. But yeah, so for example, so those same three customers, we could be giving them gift guides, curated picks for mum style and interests. We could be directing the person who's looking to replace a broken item to the exact replacement with fast checkout. The inspirational content for the just browsing individuals, so trending items and a gentle discovery. It's personalized in real time using their current intent, not last month's data. So they're all fitting in this segment, but this is what they're doing right now, and this is the experience we give them. Cool. So the data silos is the thing that really kills that real time response. So your CRM knows who the customer is. Your search platform knows what they're looking for right now. Your recommendation engine knows what's similar. Your support system knows what went wrong last time, and none of these systems talk to each other in real time. A customer calls support for about faulty product and then visits your site an hour later, and your site recommends the same faulty product. So that's not a technology failure, it's an architecture failure. So the CDP was supposed to solve this. In practice, most CDPs operate on batch updates, which are hourly or daily and not real-time event streams. There's a big difference here between what's considered real-time for data engineers versus software engineers, actually. And real time on data engineering is typically hourly or daily updates, whereas for a software engineer, it's like millisecond updates. So, yeah, if we can bring that data into the mix in real time, then we can start actually personalizing on a real time basis. So yeah, real time personalization requires that event driven architecture, and most D2C brands are still running this kind of batch driven stack. So yeah, so it's a bit like we've built a system where a customer tells support they hate the product, and then the website recommends it to them an hour later. Yet we call this omni-channel. So there is a definite gap there for real personalization. So vendor landscape. So it's overcrowded basically. There's a typical enterprise personalization stack includes a CDP, a recommendation engine, the search platform, A/B testing tools, email personalization, on-site personalization layers, analytics, CRM. Like there's so much going on, and each vendor owns a piece of that stack, but none owns the full picture. So integration costs will often exceed the cost of the tools themselves, because obviously you need all the data talking to each other and consolidate into a platform. The result is that brands then spend 12 to 18 months building a personalization stack that still can't answer the question, what does this specific customer want right now? So yeah, static rules can't really adapt to that intent in real time. If it's rule based, you get if customer is like women aged 25 to 34 and they viewed a category shoes greater than 3 times, then show banner 2. Like it was written 6 months ago, it doesn't learn. What you want is real time personalized intelligence. So essentially, you if you can get that AI powered search engagement, you can look at kind of a 2 to 3x increase in conversion. And this is where essentially we're building a repository of the actual interactions in real time, and then the actual loading of the website and the emails and everything is hooked into that and is actually responding in real time to that data. So yeah, so passive versus active data basically. So what most brands collect is kind of those page views, click paths, purchase history, time on page. That tells you what they did, but it's the search queries and the chat conversations and the product comparisons that they're doing in real time and the filter selections of what they're clicking. That tells you what they want right now. So, for example, the waterproof jacket for hiking in Scotland under £150. So we've got the use case, we've got the price sensitivity, we've got the activity they're doing hiking, and we've got the climate because we know that it's kind of Scotland. Like you've got 4 signals there that you can use to tailor content in real time. And it's not so your search may show them the waterproof hiking jacket because that's what they've under £150 because that's what they've typed in. But then you can start showing them you might also like. So you might also like this Mac or these waterproof trousers or whatever it might be, to go with that item in real time. And you've got all that long term intent data being stored as well. So that all feeds in together. So most brands will collect this first party data passively. So the page views, the click paths, the purchase history. They don't collect this intent data actively, and that's what the customer is trying to achieve right now. What they're comparing and why they're hesitating. Search queries are the richest source of intent data on your site. So seeing things like this kind of waterproof jacket, but it gives you this deep level of intent signals that you can extract and then personalize on. And most search platforms will throw away that data after returning the results. They don't feed it back into the customer profile. So chat and conversational interfaces will generate a far richer series of intent signals, and most brands don't have them. So those that don't connect to them in their that don't connect them to their personalization layer are going to miss out essentially. Cool. So this is so every session where your site guesses, you're going to lose 2 things: the conversion and the learning. The site that personalizes well is going to learn from every interaction and get better. A site that guesses will stay stuck at the same conversion rate, burning the same acquisition budget and wondering why customer acquisition cost keeps rising. So with the owners wondering. So yeah, both contribute. Yeah, you just need a practical framework around it. So there's 3 shifts here essentially. You need to capture intent, recommend in real time, and personalize to an audience of 1. So yeah, don't be guessing about the experience, like using those segmented audiences. We want to make sure we're doing this real time learning, seeing like, for example, in the first session, we capture their intent from the search, the clicks and behavior. We personalize the response in real time. The conversion or return visit can come back with a richer profile, so that when they come back, the site already knows their preferences and their context. We can then do a better personalization from day 1, and each visit will then compound and improve that personalization whilst also responding in real time to what that user is trying to do in that particular session. Whereas kind of the historical is just like, yeah, generic experiences to a group of customers without paying attention to what they're actually trying to do at the time. Cool. So yeah, so what we have here is our intent capture flywheel. So this is essentially these aren't really sequential, they reinforce each other. Intent capture feeds recommendations, and recommendations do generate more data, and more data enables an audience of 1 personalization, but these are all going to be happening at the same time. So your customers are telling you what they want, and that'll be happening kind of dozens of times per session. Most sites are currently ignoring that, so this is where the opportunity is. So 15% of visitors are using site search, for example, and generating 45% of the revenue, and the amount of intent data there is huge. So users engage with AI powered search will convert up to 3 times higher, and that's from Algolia. And users who interact with site search will spend 2.6 times more than users who don't. So if they're just browsing in the categories. So what you can do is you can start thinking about how you overcome this. So the first thing to do is kind of an ask anything. So you want to replace your keyword search with a more natural language style search. So enable those queries of like red dress for a summer wedding under £100. So that should return relevant results, not a keyword match on red and dress, but actually like understanding the intent of what the user is trying to get at. Every search query is one of those intent signals. So you want to capture it and feed that back into your customer profile. For example, when we did Hammerson, they had their AI powered search with real time tagging and ingest and getting that data in. The result for them when we had that kind of real time search was a 9x increase in daily searches. They went from I think it was 6 to 1,000 searches per day. Sorry, per month. And then, so that's a huge increase on what they were experiencing previously. So when the search works, people use it, and you can put it front and center. It can be one of your best features on your site, and it can really help people. I say search, but it's moving away from just search to actually conversation. It's more of a conversational interface, the ability to refine and to ask complex questions. And it's not just keyword search, it's stepping away from that. I think search undervalues it a little bit. Calling it search undervalues it. So conversational interfaces go further. A chat-based search system can then ask like follow-up questions like, is this for you, or is this a gift, or what's the occasion? Like it can build up a profile of that customer for them. So when Direct Ferries deployed their conversational commerce across their 3,000 routes, the system didn't just search, it understood the intent of what they're looking for. I don't know if it's open currently, but yeah, it's understanding context and preferences and yeah, understanding, being able to reach a point where you can book a ferry route in real time. And the journey before was like you'd have to go through a form and type in kind of how many passengers were coming and where you wanted to go to. You might not have even known what ports there were. Whereas now they've got like this really cool map where you can kind of see all the ports and you can see which journeys are shortest and or longest if you want to do overnight, for example, like to get further down the country, or whatever it might be. So you have that ability, and then you can ask those kind of follow-up questions like, can I bring a trailer? Can I bring my dog? Is it okay if I have like more people in the car? And that's what you can ask those more complex questions and get an answer. So this is where it starts to get a bit technical, is integrating this stuff, and it's a fair warning. It's building the data architecture to connect intent capture to real-time personalization isn't straightforward. If you don't know how, yeah, then it can be a bit complex. So if that sounds like you, and that's something you want to figure out right now, you can apply for one of our AI audits. I'll drop a link to that in the chat. So there's that. And yeah, so we'll look at your setup. We'll tell you what's possible, what's realistic. It is application only, not applicable to everyone, but yeah, feel free to apply through that link. And yeah, the link is in the chat. So yeah, moving on to our next focus, AI-driven recommendations. So we need to stop recommending to customers what they've already bought. So most conversational engines run on a kind of collaborative filtering engine. So most people who bought X also bought Y, and that's a 15-year-old approach to kind of showing them those products. So so you can get that session level context. So recommendations that adapt within the same session, not just between visits, in about 4 to 8 weeks. So things like where the customers view hiking boots and then searches for waterproof trousers, like the recommendations should connect those signals and suggest a hiking bundle, not just show more hiking boots. Or show similar products that are kind of related to the activity. Users of generating shopping assistance are 60% more likely to purchase as well. Cool. So Stitch Fix, they saw a 40% average order increase in showing customers why items were recommended. And yeah, saying it's recommended because you search for waterproof hiking gear builds trust, whereas recommended for you doesn't. Like getting to understand the customer, like this is what you're trying to do today. Here's a way we're going to help you out. So you're looking to fix a rusty bicycle chain. I like this example, but looking to fix a busty bicycle chain, you can say, right, well, you need this product to clean it, you'll need this product to then lubricate it, and this product to remove the rust or whatever it is as well. Here's a video on how to do it. Here's some great content. Like, really help the users solve their challenge and get through to the answer that they're looking for. Um, that will build the real trust with a customer. So, and then you've got obviously behind the scenes. So this all of what we're talking about here is very much on the front end, but behind the scenes you can have the same thing running. So AI backed predictive schedules drove 340% increase in repeat purchase revenue for Overbalance. So if you sell consumables or replenishable products, your site should know when the customer is likely to need it more and surf it before they have to think about it, and that can be part of this recommendation engine. So that personalization that's personalization that feels like a service. It's not a sales tactic, because it's like, you always buy this, you haven't bought it in a while, do you need another one? Or yeah, on the back end, like you can have the understanding kind of how much of this product you actually need in real time based on what's selling, and then obviously you can then feed it through to the people who actually need it when it comes through. So yeah, so the third focus is really we want to focus on an audience of one segmentation. So this is where we stop segmenting by demographics, and we start building individual profiles through interaction. So a traditional approach would be that we gate content behind a form, or we ask for a name, email, company, job title, budget, timeline, shoe size, blood type, whatever it is we need to know. And yeah, 78% of B2B decision makers hate to share complete contact information on their first interaction, and D2C consumers are even more reluctant. So progressive profiling through every interaction means that every search query, every chat message, every product comparison, every review read, these build a profile of the user without a form. And this is kind of how it works. So step one, the user searches running shoes. We know they have an interest in running footwear, and the site responds with running shoes that they might be interested in. And we've got all the category pages and navigation and all that can align to running footwear in real time. Then they filter down their search to trail running size 9. So now we know that they're a trail runner and their shoe size is size 9. So we can then, any further searches they do, we can have that pre-filtered and narrowed down. We can, and as they kind of search deeper, that can always be the selection. They compare two shoes and read durability reviews. So we can say, right, well, there's a thing to sort the products by. We need to get their durability rating, and yeah, have durability badges highlighted on the product cards, and like most durable tags on the cards, and a filter for that maybe, so we can filter down and sort. And then yeah, review excerpts on kind of the durability shown very prominently on those results. And then they use the chat to filter down further. They say, which of these handles rocky terrain better? So then we can have like, where we know they're a technical trail runner, they have very terrain specific needs. Like, we're getting really deep on the personalization here. And the profile after, what's that, 8 minutes? So running footwear, trail runner, size 9, value durability, rocky terrain, technical needs. And we've given them trail specific accessories suggested along with those rocky terrain suitability scores. Terrain comparison data has been added to the product cards in real time. And yeah, essentially that is then surfaced in a response window where we're showing them a very focused set of results. They're not overwhelmed with 200 results they have to page through. It's like, here's the 5 that you might actually be interested in. Like, you can always go view more and view similar, or view the other. There were 200 similar to this, and they can expand the search. But if you can narrow it down to the 5 that they would actually really be interested in, or 3 or 2 that they'd really be interested in, like, give them the choice. But yeah, give them the choice of the ones that actually meet their needs, so they're more likely to check out. So yeah, that is essentially same session personalization. So then when the user comes back, we have a much richer profile. So we know They're interested in trail running shoes. We can have them sorted by durability, size 9, terrain ratings on every product card, like customized a homepage that is customized to them, based on what they might be interested in next. So whether or not they bought the shoes, should we still show the shoes? Maybe we show them stuff that's kind of related. So if there's like, I don't know, trail running socks or something like that, that's related. I don't really know trail running, but something that's actually related to that particular um, interest and the kind of the things that they've searched for. So and then maybe when they have checked out, like it's yeah, if there's no more trail running stuff, maybe we show them, I don't know, similar shoes or trainers for size 9 that are durable and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's going a bit beyond kind of what they search for, but this is where the AI can help with that in a massive way, because it can do that advanced analysis at scale. Whereas for trying to do this with rule based would just be impossible. Yeah, like I say, you can do 20 to 50 rules and then you run out of steam. So yeah, so we want to have this kind of flywheel. This is more of a loop than flywheel, but yeah, so capture the intent from the users from those rich inputs and rich behavioral signals. Have the AI recommend things in real time. That then as they do more interactions, we continue to enrich the profile, and then better capture their intent of what they're looking for, and that just keeps looping through the session, through the next session. Like we can continue to build this richer and richer profile. We can have the AI kind of update once they check out, once a session has passed, so it's not kind of trying to push too much of the same thing that never sells. And yeah, really have a rich interaction with that customer where it's like a customer service expert that remembered that user from last time and what they were interested in. You know, that's always the best experience you get when you walk into a shop and the person remembers you and what you're interested in, and says, oh yeah, we've got some of these great other things in you might like. That's a really rich experience, and you really only get that with almost a friend level of customer service, and that's what we're trying to get to here is being that brand that really understands the customer and gives them the thing that they're looking for from all of the products that you have, what is most suitable for them at that exact point in time, based on what they did when they kind of walked in the store, but when they start browsing the webpage. So and it accelerates. So every interaction makes the next interaction more relevant, and yeah, you get a compounding advantage over those that are still running static segments. So while your competitor site's learning something new about customer every 30 seconds, yours is updating segment spreadsheet every quarter. Like there's a big gap there. So whoever's doing this is going to have an advantage over who's not. Cool. So so we can have obviously there are steps to this. There is obviously replacing your keyword search with natural language search. There's capturing the search queries. There's adding kind of a why was this recommended label onto product recommendations. There's implementing that same session recommendation on search results. Those are kind of your more quicker wins, and then you've got your bigger investments of like deploying a conversational commerce assistant. So that would be sort of 8 to 16 weeks, depending. And then building event-driven data architecture. So replacing kind of batch updates of the CDP with near real time. And then AI-driven product recommendations on page fed by that AI assistant. So, and then doing the predictive replenishment for consumable products on the back end as well. So as those come in, you can obviously feed in and say, look, we got your usual back in stock. Would you like to buy it? So on to Q&A. So where should we start if our personalization stack is already complex and we can't rip it out? So you don't need to rip out your existing stack. Just start with the search layer. So if you upgrade site search to natural language and capture those queries and intent signals, you've added a personalization input that most of your competitors don't have already. That feeds into whatever CDP or recommendation engine you already have. And then, yeah, you can use that in your existing processes. And how do you handle personalization for an anonymous user who hasn't logged in? It's the same. Essentially, you give them a guest ID, and you start building their profile before you know who they are. Like it's just incremental. So once they then log in, you can then assign all that intent data to that user. But this is where same session personalization matters most. You don't need that login to personalize. You just have the 5 search queries and the 3 product comparisons to give you enough signal to then personalize the rest of that session. The profile is ephemeral. It lives for that visit. And then if you do manage to hook it up to the login, then you get the long-term data. But it converts better than showing a generic experience to someone who's you've been watching for 5 minutes. So if they go back to the homepage and they're still seeing the same products that they didn't want last time, like it's not really going to be a great experience. But if they've started delving into a certain set of products, you begin to build a bit of a profile, and they go back to the homepage, and all of a sudden it's like they've got a load of products that they're actually interested in, or they go through to they do a search with a challenge that they've got, and they go through to a product page, and it says, like, in order to solve your challenge, you'll also need this other product. Like that's real time personalization that really makes a difference. So a lot of AI tools promise relevance, but they often just feel like spam. What's the biggest mistake you see with brands make with AI driven personalization? So building personalization around what customers did last time instead of what they want right now is probably the biggest challenge here. So purchase history is very much backward looking, whereas search queries and chat inputs are forward looking. It's what the customer's trying to do right now. The brands that win are the ones that listen to what the customer tells them today, not what they bought 6 months ago. We already do segmentate, or it is a combination of both those, actually. So you want to keep the long-term data, but also personalize on top of what's happening right now. There is value in that long-term data, and that's been proven to date. But there's more value in solving the customer's challenge at that point in time. So yeah, we already do segmentation and personalization. How is what you're describing actually different from what we're doing today? So we're shifting from that segment-based personalization to intent-driven personalization. It's instead of grouping customers by demographics and serving them pre-built experiences, we're capturing what each customer wants in real time and adapting the site accordingly. Now, that may mean you need to build a generic product recommender card with a 1-sentence input for why it was recommended, and then you let AI do the rest. Essentially, you give it guardrails and kind of what it can do. Or it may be having those kind of product recommendation pieces, but it's not like the old ones where it's like other customers also bought this. It's based on what you've done in the last 5 minutes, you may like this. It's a very different personalization. And capturing what each customer wants in real time and adapting that site accordingly. The McKinsey data around that shows that drives a 10 to 15% revenue lift. So if you remember nothing else from today, then remember that 71% of customers want personalized experiences, and 34% of brands are currently delivering them. So that's a 37-point gap that's probably costing you 10 to 15% of your revenue, according to the Adobe report. This isn't just another personalization tool. It's 3 things. So you've got to capture intent through that search and conversation. And that's your customers actually telling you what they want right now, and then listen. So then you're recommending in real time using an AI that adapts within the session, not just between visits, and then building individual profiles progressively through interaction. So that's progressive profiling, not forms and kind of checkout and then updating the CDP, but actually doing it in real time based on interactions. So your customers are literally telling you what they want in the search bar. So you've just got to interpret that. And every interaction where your site understands what the customer wants is an interaction that's going to convert better. It teaches you more, and it makes the next one even better. That's the flywheel. You just need to start it. So if you want to get specific help, you can apply for one of our AI audits. We'll review your search, your recommendations, your personalization stack, and identify what will move the needle, map out priorities. It's a 30-minute call to start, and then obviously optional from there on. And so that's our AI audit request, which I'll drop in the chat there. And if you're not quite ready for that yet, but you'd like to learn a bit more, you can stay informed by joining our newsletter, which has the weekly strategy breakdowns for D2C leaders with this level of depth on different topics. So that's in our newsletter. Yeah, and we try and make that great every week. So that's in the chat as well. There you go. Cool. So both are in the chat. And yeah, any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching. And until next time.